Kevin, thank you for having me on second time. Actually, me as an interviewer now. We switched the roles, and now it's my honor to interview you, as you are the master of manifestation, about the law of attraction and manifestation. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting this interview. It's quite weird to be the other side, but I look forward to share my own background, experience, and expertise.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to that. To ask you questions that have been haunting me since a long time, and yeah, it's great to sit down and to go deep about the law of attraction since maybe this is kind of a buzzword right now and a lot of people are talking about it and there are a lot of critics about law of attraction. So I would like to hear, like, do you understand some critics who criticize that and call BS on that, and what is your response to that?
Yes, I completely understand because I've been into that position too as well a few years ago, where I thought that the law of attraction was completely bullshit. And there are two reasons why I had that belief. The first one is because I had limiting belief about the law of attraction. I thought that it was limited to a certain kind of group of people who do yoga, who eat vegan, who hug each other all the time, who pray, love, meditate, etc. And I was not part of this group of spiritual people. What people call those kind of people spiritual people. And as I was not part of this group, for me, it was a woo-woo thing. It was a kind of practice, a kind of belief that was part of those groups and that were exclusive to this kind of person. So I was limited by my own belief. And the second reason is because of my ignorance on the topic, because I thought that the law of attraction was to just think about something that you want, something that you desire, and boom, there is a kind of magic and that thing happening to your life. And I was like, no, that's not possible. This is not how life works. Life doesn't work like that. Life is not that easy. And I had absolutely no knowledge about the law of attraction. I didn't know that science could explain every part of the law of attraction, every part about how to move from mind to matter. So my limiting belief and my ignorance really limited myself about this topic. And what I would say to people who are in this position right now, who doubt this practice, is to simply start learning, because there is all the knowledge on the world available today, online, offline, about the law of attraction. And the law of attraction is just another law like the law of gravity. No one questioned the law of gravity, but everyone questioned the law of attraction. And the law of attraction is a universal law, a natural law. So once you understand the principle of the law of attraction, how it works, the science behind it, how people use it, the feedback from people who use it, all the stories around it. And there are like a lot of books about it. Think and Grow Rich was been written 100 years ago and still one of the best seller in terms of business. All the work from Joe Dispenza, Bob Proctor, the book Mind to Matter from Dawson Church with the speaker at his online summit. Like, people do research about it and have proof about it. So start to dig into it. And if you're really bold, just take a leap of faith and be coach towards your desire with the law of attraction.
Hmm. Great, I love that. There are certain, in my imagination, like there is like a threshold where you have like the internal things going on and the external. Of course, for change we need kind of external events, right? So when do I know to just, focus more on the external things, or does it happen naturally? When do I know to to start actually, start my transformation in the outer world. A lot of people, I know a lot of people who get stuck in the inner world and don't take action. So how can you help them to take action?
One of the main takeaway from these online summits and from the speakers' feedback is that for most of us, it has been through a pain point in our
Mm-hmm.
life. It means that we reach a place, a dark place in our life where we really look for solution, we really look for option because we couldn't spend more time in the dark place. Like for me, it was with addiction and being at the depression, having no social life, literally throwing up every morning before to go to work. Um, for some people, it was obesity. For some people, it was other kind of disease. For some people, it was to be interned in hospital. Um, but depression is usually a great route. So if you don't want to reach that point, and most people reach that point before to have the click to change, I would advise you right now to follow your intuition. So I know it's easy to say, but this intuition, this inner knowing that you cannot try to resist because it's illogical, irrational, just take time to sit with that desire that who uplifts you, makes your heart beat a little bit faster when you think about it, that put a smile on your face when you imagine your future in that situation, in that experience. Nourish that idea in your mind because your mind is your play game. You can imagine whatever you want. Try to imagine how it would look like. Try to imagine solutions, way to get there. Play and start to create a real world in your mind, not just a fantasy, but to make it as real as possible.
It's reasonable to tell to say like being like going into a dark place is sometimes beneficial, and seeing the beauty of it, that is kind of an or can be an awakening moment for you. And would you say embrace it and say like, hey, go even deeper until you reach your lowest point? I know you said like you can avoid that, but so I find this kind of revealing bit, because this shows also, if you're aware of it, that you're in a dark place, and you don't have any options then to, I would say, accelerate your transformation or go the other way. Going the other way is no option because it's dying. Nobody wants to die. So sometimes I believe it's focusing your vision on the things you need to do, and this is what I actually like about you know being being sometimes at dark places, like standing with the back to a wall, having no option but just to transform yourself. So I like this approach of basically understanding the intuition and focusing on that.
Mhm.
How do you deal with focus if we have that?
What do you mean by that?
Is it something I'm really into focusing on just only one thing at a time. So I know to make things happen, we need to focus on the next thing. But what do I know? What is the next thing in order to manifest something? You said the intuition is a starting point, and from that on, do I need something else except of intuition?
Um, I believe that there are a few things that we can do that doesn't take much time. The first one that I just described is to create that inner world inside where you picture yourself in your future experience. So of
Mm-hmm.
course you must know what you want to achieve. If you don't know what you want to achieve, then there is no manifestation. You cannot manifest something that doesn't exist. You must picture that thing in your mind. It doesn't have to be 100% clear. It's another insight that we got from the speakers during this online summit. It's that you build the 100% clarity along the way, and you never reach a point where oh, it's the end. Okay, I achieved the ultimate goal. No, you keep building, you keep living, you keep learning, you keep failing, you keep growing all the time. But something that really helps is to spend time with yourself and nourish that future experience in your mind. Close your eyes. What would you do? How would you feel? With what kind of people you will hang out? How would you celebrate your victories? How people would perceive you? What people would speak about? What would tell about you? How you would inspire others? How you would feel waking up in the morning, excited about doing your life mission and working? How much money would you have in your bank account? Where would you live? Like all those things you can spend time to be clear on what you want. So that is nourishing the intuition, that is nourishing the ID, that is nourishing the inner calling. And then from there, taking tiny steps. It can be keeping going that way, and you put yourself in front of your mirror and you talk to yourself. You talk to yourself and you describe your future experience, like you uplift yourself. You put a smile on your face and you go in front of your mirror and you say all those beautiful things that you can imagine, but with words, and you share that with yourself. You know, you're sending out, you're releasing an energy that is so empowering when you do this kind of thing. And if you're stuck in the fear and limiting belief, because you do this kind of action and again, and you uplift yourself, and it can give you an energy to take action, because the next step is to take action. The manifestation and law of attraction thing is not a wait and see. It's not I'm on my sofa and the magic will happen. No, because if you do not take action, it means that you do not believe in your future. You don't really want to achieve it. So taking tiny steps, it's what I help people to do. And once this online summit is closed, I'm going to ask you to jump into a group coaching, a 3 to 4 month experience where we really talk about that and talk about how to change your self-image to create a self-image that is aligned with the desired future, desired outcome that you want, then how to take tiny steps that are really decisive in how you're going to take a leap towards that desired outcome. But it's not by wishing, it's not by hoping, it's not by dreaming 24/7 that the magic will happen.
That's great. I like it. If you allow, I would like to go into a practical example. I know from your background that you manifested a lot of money, and I would like to focus on that, like how that happened. Like if you could break down this experience and let us copy that. That will be great. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, but I have another experience about public speaking that I believe is even more powerful in terms of following the intuition, because it's the intuition that I follow that has the best result. My public speaking experience involved money as well. So it all started with, again, intuition. And intuition is a illogical, irrational thought from an analytical point of view. And I started to have like pictures in my mind about Google. And I don't know why. That's the thing with intuition. You cannot explain why suddenly you have those ideas in your mind. And instead of closing the door and asking myself, like, why am I thinking about Google right now? I did the opposite. I opened the door and I welcome all the thought about Google. So I play with Google in my mind. It's just like I had the logo of Google in my mind, and that was great. So I nourished that idea. And a few days later, I started to think about China, and I could picture the Asian continent in my mind, and I had the focus on China. And again, instead of closing that door, I open it. So I was picturing the Google logo and with Asia, and I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm going to do some public speaking at Google headquarters in Beijing or in Hong Kong, or I don't know. But I just kept playing around with those thoughts. And then I had other ideas, other intuition that kept flowing, mixing with Google and Asia. It was business. I could see businesswomen, businessmen, business people. And again, instead of rejecting this irrational thought, I kept welcome them. And I play around for a few days, thinking it has been probably like 10 days, 2 weeks of entertaining those thoughts in my mind, imagining what the outcome could be. And one day I was on my phone and I was on this app called Instagram. And I
Okay.
was scrolling through Instagram, and suddenly I saw an ad, Google startup looking for speakers to talk about business. And I was like, there is Google, there is business. Let's have a look at it. So I sent them a message on Instagram saying that I am a speaker, I can talk about the business. Reach out to me. I had no answer. I could have stopped here, but once again, it's a matter of grabbing the opportunity or not. The universe is going to put the opportunity that you're seeking on your way. Are you going to grab the opportunity or not? So I had this intuition of, okay, they don't answer me, but I'm going to chase them. So I looked at the place they were partnered with in order to host those talks. And I sent a message to the place that was hosting the talk. And they answer me. And they say, oh, thank you, Mr. Fournier. We are glad you're a candidate and you apply for that. But do you speak Indonesian? Because I live in Indonesia. And I say no. So oh, we're sorry, we're looking for local speakers for that. So if you for local people, so if you don't speak Bahasa Indonesia, then we're sorry, but we cannot allow you to be a speaker. I said, oh, okay. Was not disappointed. I was quite happy that I took the leap of faith to contact them. And then they stopped and they told me, I saw that they were writing another message. And they told me, but for another partner of us, we are looking for speakers to talk about business. And our partner name is called Asia Exchange. And it will be paid. So I had this Google who led me to have business talk with Asia Exchange. Asia Business, Google, the tripod were here. I had like literally no effort. I just had to answer to an ad on Instagram, and I got my first paid public speaking experience that way. And then I had a contract with them, and I did a few talk, and I started to earn money doing public speaking that way because I dare to follow my intuition. I dare to nourish the ideas. I dare to imagine outcomes. I dare to picture myself there, and I dare to grab the opportunity that the universe sent to me.
That's beautiful to hear, and what a great story. I love the point that you say chasing the opportunity. Like it popped up as like the label, let's say Google, and it turned out to be different, but you were seeing the bigger picture of that, and I like that. That's amazing. And we often maybe forget, and I guess are distracted or disappointed when we say like, oh, this, let's say, I don't know, this red Lamborghini didn't pop up, but maybe it's a blue Ferrari or whatever, you know, and then we are just
Mhm.
stuck to some pictures we've had in the past, and that's what I can relate to totally. Like I always pictured myself like living on in a warm country and having an location independent business, and I had different thoughts how it would be, right? And now I'm sitting here and living this, and I just
Mhm.
realized as well, like, hey, that's what I've dreamt of like previously, you know. And what do you think of like, is there a point where we can be like satisfied, or do we need to chase the next thing, right? Like of course, like being satisfied, obviously I'm satisfied, but I also want to go further? Like, is there like a barrier to break free? Like, what happens once you manifest your dreams? Like, do we do nothing, or is there the next thing to do? Like, is this a restless game, or do we find like joy and peace with that once we achieve it?
Mm, it's a learning process, I guess. There are a lot of for people who have been through all the interviews of the online summit. You probably realize now that chasing outer things, it's useless. And I bring on that quote from Jim Carrey during the online summit, and I will bring on again. Jim Carrey said, "I wish for everyone on earth to achieve their dream, have the money they want, and all the success they want, so that they can come to realize that it's not the answer."
Mm.
And that's true. Like if you want a car, a Lamborghini, for example, you're going to be happy for 2 days.
Mm.
That's all. You're going to be super happy to have your car, and then you come back to your life. If you want to manifest $1 million, let's say you win the lottery, you're going to be super grateful for what, 3, 4 days, and then you go back to your life. And if your life is miserable, your life will be miserable with a lot of money. If you want to attract a partner, and you don't love yourself, your life is a mess. You will attract a partner. You will be super great that you met that person. But after 1, 2, 3 days, you will come back to your life, miserable, feeling like it sucks. Just have someone new in your life. So other things will bring you very short-term fulfillment. You keep chasing them all your life. If you want, you can even manifest them all your life. We had that example with Alat Singh during an interview where she manifested her dream, literally the dream title, the dream job, the dream company at L'Oreal. Like everything on her vision board and the manifestation list was checked. And she finished at the hospital because she didn't like her life.
Hmm.
So it's a matter of spending time with yourself, daring to spend time with yourself, going inside. And in my case, I try to imagine what would be the best version of Kevin. The version of Kevin that is fulfilled, really fulfilled. Because for me, success, the definition of success, is waking up every morning with a smile on your face. When I wake up in the morning and I'm smiling, I know I'm successful. If I don't, there is a problem. I have something to change. And the answer is not by having something more, a new phone, a new laptop. Those are things that can help my condition, that can help my daily life, but they're not going to make me fulfilled. So the answer is about what kind of person do I really want to be? And when I picture that in mind, I'm almost like a monk, and that very wise guy that people go to because my wisdom and my presence and my words really shift their mind and energize them. And that's the picture of me that I see in the future. So I do my best to lead myself towards that picture because this is me. This is who I want to be. And in order to be that person, I have to embody that person right now. So yeah, there is nothing wrong. I have no judgment about chasing things in the outer physical world. It's great. But you're going to attract what you're in alignment with. So
Hmm.
believing that the law of attraction is attracting what you want is wrong. You attract what you're in harmony with. If you spend your life in being afraid, you're going to attract people, opportunities, ideas, intuition, thought, events that are going to make you experience fear. If you're in harmony with the gratitude of receiving constantly money, sooner or later, you will attract all the opportunities, people, thought, intuition, idea, desires, events that are going to make you make money. The universe doesn't judge what you want. There is nothing right or wrong, good or bad. There are just things, and the things that you're in harmony with. So if you're in harmony with the feeling of pure love and bliss, like once again, you are going to attract all the opportunities, people, intuition, ideas, desire, events that are going to make you experience more love and bliss in your life.
That's a great revelation that like the resonancy is there, right? You attract that with what you resonate. And you know, I know a lot of people in the transformational business since I'm leading people through a certain process, and they need to start somewhere. And there is like this fear, you know, this threshold that is keeping you back, and how to get out of this circle of fear. Because once I feel fear and don't take the leap of faith, you know, I will not transform into my better me. So what would you tell people who are super afraid of change and transformation, that they are afraid they could fail?
There is a powerful question that I ask to my high-level clients, and I would encourage you to reflect on those questions. And if you, it's simple. If you don't spend time to reflect on those questions, you're not ready. That's all. You're not ready for change. The people who are going to reflect on those questions are already ready for change. And before to highlight that, there is a coach that I want to hire. It costs $100K per year to be coached one-on-one with him. He has a 12,000 email list that he built organically through the past 15 years. Last month, he sent an email to those 12,000 people asking them to answer 13 questions. I answer his email. I answer his 13 questions with vulnerability. The next day, I receive an email from him telling me, Kevin, you know what? Out of the 12,000 people in my email list that I asked to answer this question, you're the only one who answered me. So it's because I'm ready. It's because I'm ready to do the job. So there are 3 questions that I ask you to reflect on. The first one is, what kind of person do you want to be? The second one is, what are you ready to sacrifice in order to be that person? And the third one is, what are you not ready to sacrifice in order to be that person? Because if you want to experience something else, it means that there is a change that has to happen. And it means that you have to let go of who you are right now to be someone else. So it means that you have to let go of things you have right now in order to have other things. It means you have to, what I call sacrifice or trade, in order to be or have something else. So what are you willing to sacrifice in order to change? What are you ready to sacrifice in order to change? It can be what your family think about you, what your partner think about you, what your friends think about you, what you think about you, maybe where you live, maybe the job you have, maybe what you're doing right now. You won't have something different by doing more of the same. So it's to be, my advice is to be really clear on who I want to be, what do I want to experience, what am I ready to sacrifice, what I'm not ready to sacrifice. If, for example, you want to be a kind of person that is completely free, do whatever you want, all the time, but your family doesn't let you do that, are you willing to sacrifice your family or not? If not, then you won't achieve the outcome that you want. If yes, then you're ready. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. Maybe you're going to feel guilty sometimes. Maybe you're going to cry sometimes. But if you want to
Yeah.
live a life free, then you must be free, and you must create freedom. So this is an example. Um, if you want to make a lot of money, but you're constantly trapped in the, oh my God, I don't deserve it, or I don't know how to make it, or I feel guilty about making money. It means you have to do some inner work about how you perceive money. And if you make 1-2 thousand a month, for example, being a coach or being in the human-based service industries, then you have to double or triple your price, maybe. And that requires courage to do it. But once you do it, then it's done. It's like, are you willing to sacrifice all your doubts and all the limitation that you created in your mind? Yes or no? If yes, then you're ready for the change. If not, then you're simply not ready for the change.
Get it. Yeah. I like the idea that, and this is where it resonates with a lot of spiritual people, spiritual teachers who just say, let go. And this is the purging. As when you purge and let go of things, you feel so much lighter. And we often identify with things that are holding us back, although we aren't these things. And I like that approach, that letting go of your identity, it's scary, right? Because it's you kind
Yes.
of, but it's not you actually.
Yes, and pure manifestation, like by really shifting, by really taking a leap towards another reality, another experience of life, another part of you. It's like killing the old self. It's painful. It's going through the not sure in English. I think it's the thief or thrift process. It's when someone die, and you have to let go of that. You have to accept, like, pure manifestation in terms of changing the person that you are. It's going through the same process of killing the old self in order to creating the space for someone new to occur. That can be really painful. It has been
Yeah.
painful for me. I think it has been painful for you at some point. It has been painful for literally all the speakers at this online summit at some point in their life. That's we have to be ready to do the work. It doesn't mean that it has to be deadly painful. It doesn't mean that we have to reach that point of hopelessness or complete hopelessness. But we have to be ready. We have to be willing to say bye to the life that we had in order to have another one. It's as simple as that. So we have to accept the life that we had, and to be grateful for the life that we had, and to forgive ourselves for the life that we had in
Oh,
order
that's beautiful.
to have the new one that occurs.
I love it. Yeah, forgiving yourself and loving yourself and saying like, hey, you're not an a-hole for doing that. It was just a part of the process, the part of the transformation, and loving yourself and going even further. And being in the transformational business, let's say, that where we lead people from one point to another, I found that it can be actually almost enjoyable to have pain, because it's a part of the process, and you will turn out to be a different person. I would not say better, stronger, harder, whatever. It's just like and looking forward to being that different person. eliminates the pain almost, although it's painful and
Mm.
stressful. And I
Mm-hmm.
kind of enjoy this process where I know, like, oh, if it's painful, then I know it's honest and I know it's the truth. And it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
need to be always painful, of course, but I know, like, this is just life and it's just honest.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But
mhm,
yeah, those pain points are a reflection that we're not on the good way. We are not taking the good pathway. Like when I feel pain, when I feel depressed, when I feel hopeless, those are the signs that I'm not in alignment with the best
mhm,
version of myself anymore.
mhm,
I'm not doing the right thing. I'm not taking the right action. I'm not entertaining the right kind of thought in my mind. Those are the signs that I'm doing something wrong.
mm,
So the pain is here to tell me, like, hey, Kevin, you have to make some readjustment, some pivot in order to be more aligned with the true self, with the best version of yourself, with the ideal picture of who you are deeply inside. And I know that when I go through those pain points, that it's not pleasant. um, but it's the memory, it's the reminder that I can do better, I can think better, I can feel better,
mhm.
and then I have to readjust myself in order to go there.
I get it. What I meant was more or less the, let's say, the things or struggles on a daily basis, like, let's say, waking up for an interview at 3 a.m. You've been there with the summit, I know that, and
Hmm.
you took this, I would say, in a very focused manner and did this, and I believe it was not enjoyable, although it was, I believe you loved the process. But I, I understand, like, the when you wake up every day and being depressed, something's going wrong, of course, and something needs to be changed.
Hmm.
And most of the time, it's I guess it's a lack of vision and purpose in life.
Hmm. Yeah, it's not. I would not wake up at 3 a.m. every day, but I enjoyed it. Why? Because of the result.
Hmm.
Because I know that first of all it's short term. I mean, it's not like I have to wake up at 3 a.m. every day. It's for a good cause. I had great interview with Dawson Church, with Richard Ruman, who is the TED founders. I was quite excited to have their interview, even if it was in the middle of the night. And I had some speakers who told me, like, "Wow, you woke up at 2, 3 a.m. in order to have the interviews." Hell yes.
Yeah, no.
Hell yes. Like, yeah, that when there is something you want to achieve, you must do the work sometime. Um, I mean, I don't really care if I have to wake up at 3 a.m. once, twice, three, four times. If it's in order for me to create something amazing, that's I mean that's nothing. That's because I know that it's not permanent. It would be something else if I would have to do that every day. But like on occasion, that's okay.
Great. This is this is the, let's say, going now full circle, maybe back to embracing the vision. A lot of
Mhm.
people, as I said, like, wake up in the morning and don't have a vision, and therefore are depressed because they don't know what to do, what to chase. Do you have any hints, any tutorials on how to, like, facilitate your vision and learn to articulate that in order to manifest that?
Mhm. I will come back to what I said at the beginning, which is this is what I do. I create a fake world in my mind. But you have to be willing to spend time with yourself. And because it's not your family, it's not your friends, it's not people that you know well or don't know well that are going to tell you what you should do. In order to have more clarity in your vision, you have to be willing to spend time alone. It can be hours, it can be days, it can be weeks, it can be months. figuring out what is that thing that you want to do.
Hmm.
And again, this thing that you want to achieve is, it's not the end of your life. If I take my own example, 4 years ago, I was depressed with my job. The last thing I wanted was to be an entrepreneur.
Really
It's literally the
amazing.
last thing, like on my it was not even on my list. And if I had a not to do list, it would have been at the top of this not to do list, being an entrepreneur, because I had no confidence in myself. I had no belief in myself and in the fact that I could do constant work to sustain myself. Like, it was not possible for me. I couldn't picture that. 4 years later, there is no clue that I could be an employee anymore. Like, I enjoy this entrepreneurial life so much. And I did the opposite of what I wanted at the time. So I never had vision. I never pictured anything about entrepreneurship. It came because I took action. I decided to leave everything I had and to start traveling the world with no itinerary in mind and no return ticket. I spent 1 year traveling and not knowing where I would be the next days, where I would be the next weeks, completely surrendering to life. And what that experience taught me, because it was my desire at that time, I had that desire to buy a backpack and travel the world, and I just dared to do it. It took me a few months of processing the idea of following people on Instagram and Facebook who did that, and have talk with them and get inspired and imagining my life like that, and reaching some pain points in my life where poop one day I was like, okay, it's so obvious that I'm going to do it. I'm resigning tomorrow. But what I thought at that time that I would be a world traveler for the rest of my life. And a few months after I started to travel, I realized that I wasn't happier. It was still not the solution. Being a world traveler didn't make me happier than being a corporate leader.
Yeah.
I was glad that I had that experience, but I was even more depressed a few months after I started travel, because I was like, but what am I going to do with my life?
Hmm.
I mean, I'm
But
completely free. I'm going wherever I want, whenever I want, doing, I don't have to work because I have a bit of saving. After people kill for having this life, I have this life, and I'm even more depressed. So it's a matter of keep purchasing, keep pursuing, keep going inside to figure out what is the next bold things that I would like to achieve. And spending time alone is not about being lonely. You can be with surrounded by 10 people and feel lonely. You can spend time alone with yourself and feel like, well, having an amazing time.
yeah, I love the quote that you said, like surrendering to life. This is so powerful because surrendering to life means like going all in and experiencing this even maybe more deeper depression that leads you to something else.
Mhm.
As you said, you began
Yeah.
your journey through the intuition, you had to do that, and then you suffered actually more after months,
Mhm.
but this led you to becoming somebody different, and this is like the conduit and the path that a lot of people are afraid of. Like some troubles could pop up, but once you the spiritual people say like, or let's we all humans say like, just listen to your heart, and this is, I guess, a great statement overall. Intuition
Yes.
and the heart and being trained about that.
Yes. And about being spiritual, about spirituality. Spirituality is being you.
Mm.
You're spiritual as long as you're true to yourself and you're being the best version of you. That is being spiritual. That is being spiritual. I'm spiritual. I don't do yoga. I'm not vegan. I don't wear elephant pants. Um, I I don't hang out with people who are chanting or constantly meditating. And I'm still way more spiritual than a lot of those people. I got, especially living in Bali, hang out with those spiritual gurus who are like, oh my God, so bullshit. Like judging all the time, telling you what you have to do, kind of thing. I was like, my God, I cannot believe this. So being
Yeah.
spiritual is
There's
about daring to be the true best version of yourself. This is being spiritual. It's not about anything else that is in the outside world, yoga, chanting, meditating, etc. There's spirituality has nothing to do with that. Spirituality is being aligned with the true best version of yourself on a daily basis.
I love that statement when you say being aligned, and what I hear in that is following your, let's say, God's mission or your given mission that you have to fulfill in this life, or not you have to, but you are
Mm.
made for that, and everything that is
Mm.
not on that path makes you kind of unhappy because you feel you're not at this
Mm.
place. So by intuition, I'm following that as well, very consciously, and saying like, oh, am I on this path that I was supposed to be, with my gifts, with my talents, and with my history. This is what I'm always seeking, and this made me the most fulfilled, discovering this path and being true to that, whatever it takes. If it takes pain, or if it takes wealth away from me, but this is the best feeling. As you said, money can't make you long-term happy, but the fulfilling your mission and knowing it is, to me, very fulfilling, and you helped me along at this journey as well. So I'd like to thank you for the overall journey, and thank you for this interview where we put a lot of practical, yeah, steps towards, I would say, overall happiness and fulfillment that are not
Mhm.
always just enjoyable, but they can be enjoyable, of course. But what I've what I get from this is that we have to be brave to follow our
Mm.
intuition and our mission, and not be afraid of, you know pain points that are hindering us, or we don't have to be afraid of purging circumstances out of our life, and purging
Yes.
people out of our life. This is what I what I definitely can take away, and I would like to thank you, Kevin, for this time.
You're
It's,
welcome.
it's
I
been
will I will
great.
say last few words for
Yes, please.
people who are watching right now and who have feel energized and empowered by this interview, that you're the master of your decisions. You're the master of your thought. You're the master of your belief. What do you believe? If you must doubt something, doubt your limits. Because if you say, I don't believe I can manifest anything, it's you creating the limitation. I don't believe I can. It's you. You're literally making it happen because it's you who don't believe in. Prove me wrong. Prove me that you cannot do it. Prove to yourself that you can do it. You're creating the limitation if you don't believe in. If you think you can't, it's you. I think I can't. I think. It's you thinking that you can't. So it's your thought creating the limitation. Nothing else. It's you like shrinking yourself instead of opening yourself. If you keep wondering, if you keep asking yourself question, it's you making the decision to not taking action and keep being afraid. When you make the decision, when you take a bold action, it can be to be coached, it can be to buy the premium package of the summit, it can be just do something that you're afraid of. Like once you commit yourself towards this intuitive desire you have inside, I'm used to say that you make 1/3 of the work, because by doing so you empower yourself, you uplift yourself, you release such an energy of joy, of gratitude, of proudness that help you to achieve the outcome. So what are you willing to do? What kind of bold commitment and decision you're willing to take today or not?
Amazing. That was incredibly powerful, and this is a perfect point to just rest with this and let it sink.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to thank you for all of those who watched this interview, and of course, I know the background of Kevin, and I know how hard he worked to put this free summit together. So as you said, like, take the next step, and I would like to encourage everybody to take the premium package. It's really one of the most beneficial things I've experienced, and I've been in summits a lot, and this has been really a game changer. So thank you for putting this together for free, Kevin. And
Thank you, George.
I'm stuck and glued to your path and to your further things you have to say. So thank you a lot, and greetings to all of you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for your questions. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.